Welcome, everybody. This is the Bird's Eye View. I am Morduck, and I am here with Mr. Krow.
Hey, everybody, how you doing?
So, man. So it's been a while since we talked about, the killing of Helena Hutchinson. Hutchins. Helena Hutchins, by Alec Baldwin. And of course, that guy is just a narcissist and cannot stay off the internet. He just can't.
No.
So
He's kind of bored.
now he's like, my life, I don't have any worries. Let me just go buy some 1.7 million Vermont 50-acre farm.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he bought a lot. Yes.
Because why wouldn't you when you're being sued for wrongful death and maybe prosecuted for manslaughter? And let's see. I'm in the airport. Let me get on social media and just talk about my life and everything.
Yeah. Him just taking the day-to-day stuff and just showing up out of randomly definitely gets me.
Yeah, it's. I don't.
Which goes back in like when we were talking about when his interview with was it 60 Minutes or
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
But yeah, he was. I don't understand how he did that too.
Well, and then another one is, another headline. Alec Baldwin is blaming others for Helena Hutchins' death and in complete denial, the Hutchins family attorney says.
Yeah, he completely thinks it's not him.
So I remember reading something the other day. I wish I had saved the link. I forgot about it, though. It was something about there was some DA that had somebody she knew brought in their era handgun, and then she decided to say, oh, it's possible that the gun could fire without pulling the trigger. No. Because we already showed the model of it on one of our past videos. Like, the gun is designed to, when you pull back the trigger, it locks. But they were saying, if you pull it back just to the point to lock and let it go, it'll fire. I still say no. Because there's not, like, when the spring's fully set and it jacks forward, right? There's a certain amount of force that it generates. If you have your thumb on it and you just let it go, that hammer rolls off your thumb and it just isn't going to have enough to...
It doesn't have the direct force, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same amount of force. And if that was the case, those guns would have not been as popular or as many of them would have been made as there was. They were very reliable, very normal gun to people have way back in the 1800s. So, we showed a video of how the gun works and how this is an impossible situation for it to fire without pulling the trigger. And the other thing too is part of pulling the trigger back is cycling the round into place.
Correct. Yeah.
So either A, it was a completely fully loaded gun, which they never really talked about because they just said it had live rounds. But they didn't say it had a round in every single part of the cylinder. But
yeah.
So this would have to be the perfect storm. Not only would it have to have a highly reactive primer, but it would, well, you know what? And those guns, I don't think used primers. I think they were a direct strike from behind the casing back then. I don't think, if I remember right, I don't think they had an individual primer. I believe it was the shell, and you had to hit in the shell to cause the spark inside, if I remember right, like a 22 round.
Okay.
22 rounds don't have a primer, a separate primer. So that part I don't know. Either way, it's gonna have to be highly reactive, and he would have just had to have flicked it or something. There's no real way. It's just not. It's just not. The likelihood is statistically, I think, impossible for something like that to have happened. Not to mention, you did all that while you were directly pointed it at somebody is another thing, right? Not only did all this stuff happen, but he was actually pointing it at somebody.
And this was something that the article brought up too, that I in our conversations, and since we've been doing this, like, I've learned a lot more about the gun safeties and stuff, but this was something that I also started thinking about too, was where did the live ammo come from? And if he did have, whether or not it was live or it was fake, why would you be pointing that gun that has ammo, again, live or fake, at someone? And those were the things that were brought up. It's like, safety one is, I don't know why, even if it was a fake round, why would you be pointing it at somebody?
Right. So part of his story is, well, they're investigating how there was live ammo. Apparently that gun was being used for target practice at some point on another day or whatever, but beside the point. Okay. He was saying that he was practicing pointing the gun so when the camera was facing him, it would look like he was pointing it directly at them, and they were back behind the camera, and so he was practicing doing that. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. Now here's the thing, right? Is they say he's not accepting responsibility, but here's the facts. He refused any gun safety training. Because he thinks he knows it all, right? He's so anti-gun, like he's anti-2A, but he knows it all. He knows it all about guns. So he refused any gun training. 2, he pointed the gun at somebody on set. This article says you don't do that without plexiglass and other precautions. Okay. Number 3, it says, why were there bullets in the gun to begin with, whether they were fake or real? It was only a lineup, means that they weren't filming, so it shouldn't have had anything in there anyway.
Correct.
Now,
that's what I was thinking too.
Right, but here we go back to the whole point of number 1, it's gun safety. Right? Gun safety class. I've never taken a gun safety class that the number 1 rule in that gun safety class was the gun is always loaded.
Treat it as it's always loaded. Yeah.
Treat it as it's always loaded. And even if you clear it and you know it's not loaded anymore, the second one is you never point it at something you don't intend to shoot. Regardless. Even if I knew the gun, even if I had my own gun, I had emptied it out and I had checked it, I am not pointing that gun in my own face.
Yeah.
That is stupid and asinine, and it'll get you killed. That's the kind of stuff that you don't do, is why you should have, regardless if you know it all, taken the gun safety training offered before your movie, because then it would have been fresh in your mind, and this likely would have never happened. Now, back to what I was saying about that DA saying that the gun could have been fired without him pulling the trigger. That is bull, and I don't care what she was looking at or the thinking that the hammer is free moving until it locks back. It didn't fire that way. There's no way. But I think she was probably paid by somebody in the Alec Baldwin camp to become an expert witness or something like that. Because right now, Gabby Petito died, got murdered by her boyfriend. Everyone was all over that case.
Yeah.
Right? Why is Alec Baldwin still out there buying farms and doing all this other stuff, and this investigation is not anywhere yet, right? This is asinine. Somebody was killed. He's out gallivanting around, and they're like, we're still investigating. Really? How is this not your priority? Somebody died.
Yeah.
How is this not a priority? What are you investigating exactly? Because he had the gun, he fired the gun, or, okay, the gun went off in his hand, and he had it pointed at somebody. Regardless, if I'm driving down the street and I miss a stop sign and I kill somebody because I'm looking at my phone, it's still manslaughter.
Yeah.
It's still manslaughter, whether I meant to do it or not. That is not the point. The point is you caused the situation to occur by acting without good faith and without safety precautions. This is open and shut manslaughter. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know what they were working on. Other
than the fact that he's rich and has all this money, I don't understand. This should be open and shut manslaughter. I don't know. There's just nothing to investigate more. Regardless unless you are thinking that you're going to try him for murder, which you are not, because there's no motive.
No, I don't think they could get away with murder. Yeah, I don't think they can try.
But that's my point, right? Is you're investigating somebody's death. Unless you're trying to investigate for murder, which you can't because there's really no motive, then the manslaughter should be open and shut. Bam.
Yeah.
2 to 5 years. I mean, I that's the part where I don't understand why this is taking so long. All the evidence is right there. Whether he actually pulled the trigger or not doesn't matter. It's an irrelevant fact. It really is. Because even if he meant to pull the trigger, does anybody believe that he meant to kill Helena Hutchins? No.
No.
So therefore murder is off the table because there's no motive, there's no intention, right? But the fact that he failed to take the training, he thinks he knows everything about guns, he was pointed at somebody, and it was in his hand when it fired. He didn't check to see if it was empty. He created all these situations for this to happen without taking all the precautions to avoid serious injury, and that is the statutes for manslaughter. It should be open and shut and already over with, and I don't understand why they haven't filed charges yet. It just, unless they're corrupt and they're taking money.
This happened in October of last year, so it's been like 4 months.
Yeah,
I agree. Even though it was an accident and so forth, it sucks for him because it is an accident, and it unfortunately it deals with him though.
But
yeah, I don't know.
He's out here gallivanting around like nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah, he totally is. Like, yeah, buying a big home and flying around and doing this and that and doing everything on social. This is the last thing on his mind now. He's moved on.
This is the definition of money privileges or white privileges or however you want to whatever. This is a privileged individual that clearly is being shown all the privilege in the world, because if this was anyone else that's not famous, this would be slam dunk. You're already sitting in prison because your trial's already over.
Yeah. Yeah, this would have been done a long time ago.
But in the meantime, let's go fly around and let's go get on the media and talk about, I have to leave my family and I hate having to go act and make millions of dollars because I have to leave my family behind for a couple months. And it's so expensive to fly them out every single day that they can only come out once a week and see me. Oh, my life is so hard. Oh my God. I mean, really? Come on, dude. You killed somebody. How about have some respect and wait till this whole thing is over for you to just go on with your merry life like nothing ever happened?
Yeah.
But when you're rich, I guess it doesn't matter.
Problems of the rich and famous.
Yep.
You're,
All right.
You're starting to see it in real life.
Enough ranting. Enough ranting. Better get out of here before I say something I'll really get myself in trouble.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping in. We'll see you next time.
Much love all.
Thanks.